And here we go. Good morning, everyone. It is November 4th, 2021. This is episode 36, titled Facebook, Copilot Availability, and a Serverless Wizard. How's everyone doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's weird. It's even earlier this week because time zones have shifted for most of the world.
But not America.
Not America.
Which
we
I
shift next week.
Which I found that out. We shift next week, and so is this that week of the year, Matt, where everything's just messed up?
Yes, it's this. It's the week of the year where I don't get to have dinner because all my 7 o'clock meetings have shifted to 6 o'clock meetings.
But they'll be back at 7 o'clock next week.
It's just so annoying.
I am an Italian in London, and as an Italian says, that is here is a terrible weather. It's raining, it's cold, and every Italian hates London when it comes. Every Italian says that UK is wonderful, but the weather, and actually it's true. It's a terrible weather here now.
It really is. It is a miserable day today.
That's the weather that we have here in Texas right now. Like, it's really cold, it's rainy, but I will say I'm enjoying it because this is very rare weather in Texas. Like, it does this 3-4 times a year, maybe sometimes. So I enjoy it for a little bit, but I can imagine that if you had to deal with it for like 6 months, it would probably be annoying.
See, I'm enjoying it because it's a great excuse today to turn the heating on for the first time. It's like officially winter at last because the central heating is turned on. And the house, I don't know if anyone else gets this, but when you turn your heating on for the first time after the summer, the house just has a wonderful, warm heating smell.
Yeah, it's burning all the dust out of the furnace.
Yeah. But it smells great. I love it. It just feels so wintry and cozy.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone, to everyone in chat. Toon Army Captain here first. Good to see you. I think he even says later it's his birthday week, so happy birthday week to you. We have Moyan Tree saying hello, Tech saying hello, Avnish, we've seen you. Good to see you again. Good to have everyone here. Sendekia, I am bad with names. Yeah, so good morning, everyone. And I guess
good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, it's morning for me. I'm bad about that.
Who knows?
So yeah, so let's go ahead with and I'm working on the overlay. Let's go ahead and start with our Hello World question of the day. A little bit of a spicy topic. Do you deploy on Fridays? There are a lot of different methodologies and thoughts about deployment on Fridays. I see Michele already shaking his head. So I agree. I'm in that boat. No deploy on Fridays. Matt, what do you think?
It fully depends on the system. But I am not adverse to deploying on a Friday if it's a system I trust.
Yeah. Also, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's certain applications at work, like the community site, which is a massive Rails app that I would never dare deploy on a Friday because if it goes wrong really badly. But certain other things like Hacktoberfest, which is a Node API and a Nux.js site, I quite happily deploy on a Friday because they're very simple, safe things to do.
We had the 10 rules, and one of those was if you deploy on Friday before Easter and before Christmas, be prepared to stay there all the night.
Yeah. Well, before we go any further, I do want to say happy Diwali. So to all of our friends who are celebrating today, I hope you have a wonderful festival day. I hope it's great and full of fun because I do enjoy a good holiday. But yes, when it comes to deploying on Fridays, I definitely have to, we definitely hear, there's the group of people that are like, you should be able to deploy at any time. And I'm like, you are so full of wishful thinking. The world has not beaten you down yet. The fact that if it has a network attached to it, it can always go wrong. Always. Always. Bits flip. So we don't really know. No, I don't believe in it. I'm not a big fan of it. As someone who used to have to be on call, if I got paged because someone deployed on Friday, I used to be very cranky about it. So anyway, Avnish asks, where are Chris and Kim today? So they're out today. Kim is going to be out for, I believe, the remainder of the year. She's got some big projects that she's working on, and she's looking forward to coming back. Chris is just out this week. Ooh, wow. And we will some weird pop-ups in StreamYard.
Or multitasking.
Or multitasking, yes. Sorry.
Hell.
Kim will still be here for Tech Talks. She will still be doing her live streams. And Chris will be back next week. This is the time of year where you're going to see a lot of us come and go. Like we're getting into the holiday season around the world. The last 2 months of the year tend to be a lot of holidays. I do know that at some point in the future, we are going to call it season 1 wraps for Cloud Chats. And then we're going to go forward. How many more could we do? Could we end on number 42, Matt? Do we have 6 weeks left? No, we don't. We don't have 6 weeks.
We don't
left.
have 6 weeks left.
No, I like the number 42.
We can put like 40 probably. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll probably make it to 40. But anyway, so yes, they will be back. You'll see a lot of us come and go. Then we're going to wrap it up and we're going to come back strong next year. So great question. Blab says always deploy on a Friday because then you don't have to work when things break.
Well, someone else does.
Someone else does, or you just let the website go down for the weekend. Like it's totally up to you. So yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year. We're in like it is definitely my favorite time of the year. I feel like we have to have these holidays though, because the lack of sun makes us cranky. So
and then we've got Tarek here who says on weekends. I agree.
Deploy on weekends.
You should deploy at any time.
You should be able to. And there is a great quote by someone that I worked with at my last job, and he said that there are old sysadmins and there are bold sysadmins, but there are no old bold sysadmins. They don't exist. Eventually, you get very cautious and very, weary of the stuff.
I will just say I do have some automated systems that deploy every 4 hours, day in day out, at work.
Yeah, well, if they're automated and they're tried and true at that point, then I can kind of see it.
You have to have trust in the system.
But the amount of times that I've seen people go, "Oh, let's make a major Puppet change and like let's just re-IP every box on Friday at 4 p.m." I'm like, why? Why did you feel the need to like? Do you just hate weekends? Like, no. So it's a bad idea. Oh my goodness, yeah. Anyway, that's definitely a fun.
What a spicy topic to start us off.
Great spicy topic. Well, let's go ahead and move into our interview. So everyone who has noticed, we have a new person with us this week, and it is Michele. So Michele, how are you doing today?
Except that London is pretty cold. For the rest, it's wonderful. I'm going very well. I usually in Italy, and the weather is definitely better. It's a bit depressing, but I'm trying in every possible way to get brilliant and happy. But definitely, it's raining, and I miss already Italian weather. But
how warm is it in Italy normally?
Very much better.
Yeah,
is you see always the sky, and the sky is blue. Here you see the sky, and the sky is gray. You see all the time. You have always rain, a bit of rain, a bit, keep raining. This is actually something a common problem for people living in London, but they miss the weather. But also, I'm a Sicilian, so I came from the south of Italy, so I'm used to very south of Italy. Yes, so I'm used to very, very much better weather. That is actually very, very hot. Yeah.
Yes. I do apologize on behalf of the entire UK for the bad weather we have.
I'm sure y'all have been dealing with that for a long time.
It's just perpetual. There's nothing but rain here.
It's really weird that everyone decided to build a giant empire on top of a rain-drenched rock. So, but it's nice. I've never been to London. Like I was in Heathrow Airport, which technically does not count.
No, like as well. I'm assuming you're airside still.
I never left the terminal, so like I was not technically in
airport. Laws are weird.
Yeah, but it is pretty good. So Michele, so for those of you that don't know, Michele joins us from Nimbella. He is our newest developer advocate, and he will be focusing on platform as a service, function stuff eventually. We can't say anything about that right now, but you saw the acquisition in the news.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Michele, let's go ahead and just ask a couple cool questions because we talked about this yesterday. But what was your first programming language?
Basic. Commodore 64 Basic. I started at the age of 15, and actually, I learned to program reading a video game magazine. There was one page, the secret of programming, and with the print for if, and I learned to program reading one page of a programming magazine. It's actually about. Actually, I got I used a VIC 20, sorry. VIC 20 as an old computer. I tried it. I was able to do, and then I pressed my father to buy me a Commodore 64. It took 1 year before I was able to, but then I started to code, and I never stopped since then. So this is a very actually it's 38 years ago, so it's impossible to say. I have 38 years of experience on programming, and I still code every day. Ouch. I'm old. I feel old.
But you're having fun still, right? It's still a lot of fun.
Yes, definitely. Programming is still the funnest part of my day. So I was coding this morning also, and I still do every day.
I need to really get back into that habit. Whenever I started this job here, I stopped programming. I didn't stop programming, but like I do so much stuff that I don't always get to program every day. And I recently I've gotten to again, and I realized I also do miss like learning and programming new things. So cool. Well, so Michele, what is your favorite programming language then? So you started with BASIC, but languages have come a long way in the last 30 years.
It's like your favorite favorite song. It changes every day, every year. I mean, it for now is Python. I think my favorite at the moment, but for a few years, for last year was Go. And a few years ago was Scala, and before has been Java, and before has been C++. No, C++ never. C.
No one ever says C++ is their favorite.
I never. C++ was never my favorite language. I moved to Java as soon as I could. So definitely, for now it's Python, but because you can do wonderful things with deep learning, that is actually the way of the future. So when I am not working, I play with deep learning and try to get better. It's difficult, very difficult, but yeah, I'm trying.
Fantastic.
So you've got a friend with Mason then.
Yes, I love Python. I'm a big Python person. I go to, I'm the conference chair of PyTexas, which means that I do things in my spare time for free because I think they're fun. I'm so looking forward to going back to PyCon this year. I actually just got an email yesterday about this. The CFP for PyCon US is open, and now I have to write a whole bunch of talks, which it is actually about that time of year. I usually write all of my abstracts for my talks for the upcoming year around November, so I should probably get on that. It lets me have an arsenal of talks ready for the next day.
Let me add one thing about Python. I am the maintainer of the runtime for Python that will go in. It's part of OpenWhiskey and Imbella, and definitely it should also reach DigitalOcean. So I am the person to blame if function as a service in Python will not work. So
I need to look at that. I've never looked at that code, but I would love to help you with that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
The bad thing is that my job has been to take the runtime that we built in Python and replace the Python runtime, the engine, with a Go one because the Python one was too slow. But definitely, I improved the Python runtime writing it in Go. So that's not. But now it's actually I'm the author of. This runtime was so good that was actually adopted by all the other runtimes. So I wrote it for Go, then it was used for Swift, then it was used for Python, then it was used for Ruby, it was used for PHP. So far, all the runtimes except one, they are based on my runtime. The one that does not need it is the Node.js because it's fast enough. All the others uses the Go engine to be fast in serving functions, but this is a technical discussion.
You hear that, Mason? Node is the only one that's fast enough on its own.
You need to hush, Matt. You are mean. Yeah, but the downside to Node is then you have to write JavaScript. So
Fair enough.
Michele agrees with me.
Unfortunately, is the more common used in serverless world. Actually, no. As far as I know, in the Lambda world, the more common programming language is actually Python for serverless.
Okay.
In the Nimble and OpenWhisk, and that's actually came from IBM. Is the more common is actually JavaScript, Node. But
it makes sense.
We have hope. There's hope that it will change. So I will be happy to that everything will go in Python because it's very good for this. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I do think that we tend to see a lot. Whenever you look at like just platform as a service stuff, like Node and Python always tend to be kind of like the leaders up there. You don't see a whole bunch of people writing Perl microservices. So.
Python is very good for the backend part because it does all you need quickly, and also there's a lot of good libraries. For example, the request library is wonderful. That is probably the engine of almost all the microservices around, because you always need to connect to something else, and we request make it so easy. That is there's no if you try to do that in JavaScript, you have to do a wait, you have to call callback, you have to do it's not so easy as a request. I think it's just because of that one prefer, not only for that, but definitely is one of the reasons. But,
I could talk about this all day. This is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. No, this is exactly what we love. This is exactly what the interview's for. We love talking about anything. So, Michele, how did you get into serverless? Like, seems like you've had a very long career. How did you wind up in serverless land?
This was actually an accident.
Okay.
Now, I mean, at the time I was working as a Kubernetes consultant, but people were having pain in building the containers. And actually, in the past, I tried Lambda, and I was thinking that was much easier. And so I had the idea maybe we could deploy some serverless engine in Kubernetes. That was the idea. So I started to look around, and I found another project called OpenWhisk that was exactly that. An OpenWhisk engine, serverless engine for Kubernetes. And then I tried to install it in my machine. At the time I had a Windows machine. It didn't work. So it was a Vagrant. There's a Vagrant script that you have to start, and it didn't work. So I tried to hack, and I found the problem that was in environment variable that was not properly. So one line of code, I fixed one line of code, and then I had the idea to submit the patch to the OpenWhisk project. The idea was that they will not even care of that. Instead, they immediately accepted that. They gave me public thanking. I was conducted by Roderick, that is now is the one behind the OpenWhisk. So they were a very warm welcome in this project. That was very, very exciting and motivating for me. So I decided to try to contribute, and then I found an issue that was about the missing runtime. They was looking for help for someone to improve the Go programming language runtime, and then I offered to try. And then also this opened a great discussion on the mailing list. So many people that said the idea that I was feeling I have to do something. I said they could do it. There's a lot of people from IBM, from Adobe, from Red Hat, they are talking to me, and I cannot I cannot say goodbye and not doing that. So I implemented the runtime, and I was thinking to work for a week. It actually took 1 year, but definitely the runtime was approved. Then it was expanded, added more features. Pre-compilation, then was adopted by the PHP runtime maintainer, then was adopted by Python. So now all the runtimes are using my engine, except Node, as I said. And that's the history. And then I was I'm now in the programming management committee of the OpenWhisk project. And then I knew Roderick and Anshu. They were starting Nimbella. That Nimbella was actually building on top of OpenWhisk to create a better product. And then I joined them. That history. So I was working with them for a few years as a developer. Then I offered to do some evangelization. I was for almost 1 year. I was the developer advocate, and now I am developer advocate in DigitalOcean. I think for the same. So I'm continuing my job I was doing there.
Awesome.
Not sure
At
if,
what point did you write your book?
Yes. Yeah. I also write a book about actually after I finished the runtime for Go. I wrote a book. I thought to write a book about OpenWhisk, and then because actually I've tried many times to submit a book proposal to editors, no one ever accepted. This one was accepted. So I had to write it, and I wrote a book. Yes, is about OpenWhisk, and it's published by O'Reilly. So yes, I also did that. I did that in my spare time, but I'm used to work 12 hours a day, so it's actually I was able to do 4 hours writing the book, 8 hours doing other work.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I don't think I will do it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it either. Wow.
I will not do this never.
Well, we're looking forward to the book you'll write next year then, because we know everyone always writes. Once they write one, they write more. But
the ideas about the book, but it's too early to say something about.
See, I was joking, but see, you're already thinking about it. So
yeah, of course, of course. Okay.
So.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I keep twiddling with my gain. It had always been that low. Does this sound okay? Are we good?
You were fine for a bit, and then you went quiet, and you're back now. So
okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna stop messing with my gain on my thing. I'm never happy with my audio equipment as an ex musician and an ex sound engineer. I'm never happy with my audio. So
I agree.
Okay, well now that we're good with that, it's good to have you, Michele. He's gonna join us.
Definitely deserve the title we gave you of Serverless Wizard.
Serverless Wizard, yeah. I mean, you wrote half of the code and you wrote the book, so
Actually, I did a lot of contribution also to the platform. So, anyway, I did a lot of work about actually.
Well, we're super excited to have you here at DigitalOcean, and happy to have you here on Cloud Chats. So, but now we're going to go ahead and move into the news section. This is where, as always, every week we talk about what's going on latest in the news. We have our releases section and then a couple of other really interesting ones. And then whenever you hear this sound, it means we're moving on to the next news item. Because if you've watched our show before, you know that if we don't do this, we will stick here forever and never get through the program.
We've got quite the list of news this week, so we're going to need it.
I'm going to try my best. So let's start off with our releases, and we're going to do these releases quickly. Looks like Matt, you going to share? Yeah, Firefox 94 has been released.
Yep.
So what new stuff do we have in Firefox 94?
It feels like quite a small release. There's some colors. I don't know.
It looks pretty.
If you like colors, there you go. Power users can now manually unload tabs to save memory. Assorted performance improvements. Some updates to site isolation as well to protect against side channel attacks. and there are a load of bug fixes, really. All kind of really focused on performance. There's a load of stuff here to talk about memory usage and whatnot. So yeah.
Awesome. Our next one coming up is Fedora 35. I used to be so into the Fedora landscape. I still am. I just don't run a Linux desktop anymore. So I think the last Fedora I did was like 32 or 33. So it hasn't been that long ago. Just looks like probably just more new packages. So I saw up there GNOME 41's coming out. Wow. Or is that 4.1? I can't read that. So
41.
tiny. 41. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for a new Fedora.
41. Yeah, I'd say it just looks like, again, very much just an improvements release. But yeah, update.
Dude, love it. And then Oracle JDK 17. This one's spicy. I like this one.
Yeah.
So for those of you that were unaware, a few years ago, Oracle made their JDK commercial and you had to pay to use it. This prompted a mass move from Oracle JDK to Open JDK. And it seems like Oracle has reversed this decision and Oracle JDK 17 is free again for commercial use in production.
Yep. So I think that's really the big change here. I'm sure we could also talk about Java 17 and JDK 17 and what's actually changed, but I feel like the thing everyone cares about is the fact that it's now free again for commercial use.
I actually, Java was my first language. Okay. I've done a lot of Java. I have never written a line of production Java. So I don't even know what they're adding to it, to be honest.
Also, I've never written any Java, so
I wrote. Michele did some Java, right, Michele?
Actually, yes, a lot. I started my career as a Java developer and has been a Java expert for 15 years, and then for a while I also was a Scala developer. And yeah, definitely, I would say that Java started to die with the acquisition of Oracle.
Me too. Michele and I are secretly very in sync on a lot of things. I also did not appreciate that, but that also happened the year I started programming in Java.
But it's still very widely used by enterprises, and also there's a lot of people that see serverless as the new generation of application servers. So all the big thing of one time you had the Java with the application server, and then you had Java components like EJB, Servlet, JSP that was plugging in an application server. This is basically the same architecture of serverless. You have a cloud, you plug your PCs in it. So there's a lot of similarity of serverless and Java World, Java 2 Enterprise Edition. So there's a lot of people interested in running Java and serverless. So actually working on a tutorial exactly to show how to deploy a Java application, Spring, most notably, that's very widely used in app platform. So this is something I'm doing. So I think I can say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe it's important, the Java. We cannot get rid of this. It's very rare. All the still the enterprises are using Java as their platform of choice. They are all moving in the Dockerized world with Docker Kubernetes, but they still have their legacy application in Java, and then they want to run in it. So it's important. It's something you cannot get rid of. Is the success of COBOL for many, and there is not yet a replacement. So
yes.
We have to live with that.
Yes, Java is still very highly performant. Like when my last job, the whole company was either Node or Java, depending on what you wrote. So yeah, there are a lot of Java developers out there, and it's great to see this coming through. But yeah, I really need to take the time to sit down and actually do like Spring Boot or something. I think at Verbo we use Drop Wizard. Spring wasn't like, we didn't support Spring. We supported that, but I need to learn about it. It's not going anywhere, and it's still one of it's still the most popular enterprise language. So
yeah, but there you go. It's free to use again now for commercial use.
Fantastic. And now we're moving into the non-releases section. So let's go into MongoDB, a truly open source MongoDB. So it looks like this is basically this is a response to, so earlier in the year, MongoDB changed their license to, was it SSPP is what it's called?
I think
No,
it's
that is a wrapper on Postgres, actually.
Well, yeah, this one is, but Mongo is changed their
Mongo.
open source license. So this is a response that allows people to have an open source version of Mongo. And as Michele was saying, it's a wrapper around Postgres.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's quite interesting that they are wrapping Postgres for this. I say we were talking about this off stream when we were planning this week's stream and getting the news together. We're really curious kind of how it works in the back end. Like, are they normalizing your data into Postgres, or are they using Postgres's support of JSON-B objects and just like storing everything in a single column? But either way, they give you a Mongo compliant interface to Postgres, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty neat. So
yeah.
The point is that the key component of the so-called mean stack, that is Mongo, Nginx, Express, and is that you have everything in JavaScript, and MongoDB gives you a complete an interface that is easy to use for JavaScript developers. So JavaScript developers don't want to use SQL directly because they are used to having a lower impact in their coding using Mongo. This is why, but actually the one the most performing of the best engine of for storing data is actually Postgres. So it makes sense to create this layer that will let you use the very widely used engine and the way of working or coding that JavaScript developer wants.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to see actually if you can have the most important enterprise features, because Mongo has things like sharding. So you have to see if this thing is only giving you a better, a more common interface, or also more features, because it's not enough that you have just the compatibility layer. You need more to replace completely MongoDB. So this is definitely something to say. But looks like, in my opinion, a quick hack to give them an open source alternative to MongoDB. But the truth is, we need something that's completely written by scratch. There has been some attempt, but no one picked it up as MongoDB. So MongoDB is the standard. We have to stay with it. That's the problem, and also the opportunity, what would they say? Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. But I do love the fact that I can now talk to Postgres using Mongo query language, because I don't like Mongo, but I love the query language for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our next item is out of the land of tablets. So it looks like Wacom drawing tablets track the name of every application you open. This doesn't sound good at all, Matt.
So I knew this because I have a Wacom tablet. And I just never really thought about it. Like, you open up system preferences, and yes, it has a list of every application you've ever opened. But the reason it does it is simply because it lets you set custom settings for each application.
Okay, so that makes sense.
You open Photoshop, you can set specific pen options for Photoshop compared to Illustrator or whatever. But at the same time, I get the security concern that was flagged in this. And it's an old blog post, but it turned up on Hacking News last week, as things do, and people got a bit up in arms about it. But yeah, if you're really privacy conscious, turns out this tracks everything. But it makes sense to me, at least.
It happens. We want all this interoperability. Good grief, that was hard.
That word.
Yeah, we want the things that we use to work well with the other things that we use, and surprise, surprise, the way to do this is to actually track.
Yeah,
it's a trade-off. You have to, if you think that your drawing tablet is stealing your data, well, it could be, but I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
It is, in the sense of, it listens to every application you open and sends that back to Wacom, but it has a functional purpose
It has a functional purpose. Our next question comes out of, do you want to win your next job interview?
This is ridiculous.
I love this. So apparently someone has built a 55 gigabit per second FizzBuzz in assembly, and it just talks about performant FizzBuzz, and I kind of lost it whenever I read this article this week.
Yeah, so this is posted on the Code Golf Stack Exchange. If you've never done code golfing before, it's generally about writing really small programs and really efficient programs for ridiculous problems that don't need the solution. So in this case, someone posed the question of high throughput FizzBuzz. And people have been competing on this for a while. There's a whole lot of scores at the bottom here and some nice graphs. People are really like testing the throughput of these. But last week, a new solution was posted here that achieves 55 gigabits a second of FizzBuzz throughput, which is just ridiculous. Prior to that, second place was at 40 gigabits, and before that, the fastest was only 3. So there's been some pretty insane improvements here.
I love that we live in the land of just why.
But yeah, I say this post here does have the full source and how to compile it, and it's written in assembly.
Of course it is. That's the only way you're going to get to that level. Is like if you're playing with the like, oh, what assembly language is that? Is that x86?
It is x86 64 with AVX support.
Oh my gosh, no. The amount of time they spent on this, they could have done something useful. Like they could have contributed a couple of PRs in Hacktoberfest and made the world a better place. And instead we have basically FizzBuzz go burr. Okay. Like that's where we went with this.
Yeah. But yes, I agree. Like there is 0 point to this other than just, it was fun to do for someone. But that is the whole of Code Golf Stack Exchange. Like
it is, yeah. And that's coding. Coding is meant to be fun. If you find this fun, congrats. Someone, the way I always say, someone has to. So it's.
But, it was a pretty insane stat to see when it turned up in the headline: 55 gigabits a second of FizzBuzz.
I saw that and I was like, okay, now I have to click on it. Like, if you want to talk about the most clickbaity title ever,
it's not even clickbait though, because it's completely true.
Yeah, but it definitely made me click on it. So.
Yeah.
Our next one comes out of the land of virtual reality. Oculus Quest is getting rid of the Facebook account requirement. I wonder what other evil thing is being put in place outside of this.
Yeah, so Facebook acquired Oculus quite a while back. I feel like we talked about this when it happened. And when that happened, they then put a requirement in place that you had to have a Facebook account to use Oculus devices, specifically Oculus Quest in this case. And it seems as part of the whole current shift that Facebook and now Meta, which we'll talk about in a second, are doing to this whole metaverse thing, they're removing the direct requirement for Facebook accounts to use Oculus Quest, which I think is probably a win for the consumer, but we'll see.
Until you have to use your Meta login now. So...
Yeah,
I remember this. You know, I kind of want to get one because I have an HTC Vive and I actually really like VR, but I don't use it on my computer because there's no space in my office. I use it on my partner's computer and there's no space in their office either. So I've moved and we haven't set it up again. And if for those of you that have never bought one, it's really expensive toy not to be setting it up.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
It's a wonderful fitting tool.
That's what I wanted to use it for. It's like Beat Saber. There's all this stuff.
I actually use it for that because there's a lot of wonderful application. Beat Saber, for example, but there are also specific fitness application. It's really, my opinion, about the changing on fitness. From the point of view, from the gaming point of view, for my opinion, is nothing great. You do much better if you want to explore a large open world to sit down with the PlayStation. But when you want to interact and do fitting or do something physical, also meet other people in a virtual reality session is a game changing. It's simply, I don't think they should consider this gaming device, should be a fitness device, more or less like the watch. They are focusing on the fact that is a health checking device, and that's the correct thing. But the problem is that Zuckerberg has ideas of the metaverse, and then he wants to conquer the world and put everything in the virtual reality world, and that is the craziness of this thing. But from my point of view, is a great fitness device and nothing else.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that lets us move in since we already kind of like slid into metaverse, so let's slide on over. As Michele was saying, they have this metaverse idea that has come out, and by the way, the memes around this have just been like perfect. Like I've loved every bit of the memes around this. But yeah, so it's like they're trying to create virtual reality and augmented reality space, which, I mean, if you think about it, things like this have existed for a while. Like things like Second Life were very popular. So this isn't that far of a stretch. Like we've been pretending to be in a separate world for a very long time now. Now we just get to see it better. So
yeah.
Second Life lasted 3 months on popularity. Everyone was talking about that, but it's so boring to be there that you go there, you see other people, you see a lot of construction, and then what you do there? So after you have watched a few places, you get bored, and not like me, everyone else got bored. So the idea of recreating a Second Life in virtual reality is crazy, but in my opinion, it will not work. I cannot imagine Facebook to become a virtual reality world that will be. Facebook will become a worldwide Second Life accessed through the virtual reality. Maybe, but I have my doubts.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, as part of this launch of Facebook kind of metaverse concept, they also rebranded. So
Yes.
Facebook is no longer Facebook. Facebook is now Meta. But when I say Facebook, I mean the parent company Facebook, because they're called Meta now. But Facebook, the app and website, is still called Facebook.
Yes.
Buckle up for some confusion, kids.
Well, this is no different than when we got Alphabet. Okay, like this is not the first time that we've seen a mega company decide to switch into a parent company because it's the only way they can avoid antitrust laws.
Yes, I say this is entirely, I think, to try and shift from being broken up.
Yes, exactly. This is where this is going. Like if you're a giant multinational holding corporation, it's easier to, do things like that. So anyway, I'm not going to be bitter about that. Let's move on to the MacBook Pros.
Yeah, this is a really cool bit of news. iFixit have started their teardown. I think probably by the time we're now talking about this, they've probably finished it. But the MacBooks are now, for the first time in a long time, somewhat able to be self-repaired. Like the battery is accessible. You can change it.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, like it's really cool.
Wait, okay, so I saw a weird. Do the MacBooks have like a flippable screen now?
No.
I thought I saw a TikTok about it. Never mind. No, it's fine.
The laptop.
It was
screen.
The laptop.
The screen does laptop things.
No, but not like just open flip, but like, can you like? I don't know. I saw some. I'll do my own research. It's fine.
I wonder how much it does cost to do an article like that. Because bringing a MacBook costs a lot of money. It's really expensive.
Yeah, no. I'm curious. I wonder if iFixit has some stats somewhere on like how many devices they've broken during a teardown versus how many they've managed to put back together.
I know they've done it for a lot. Like I know they do that for like I remember when Linus Tech Tips was like reviewing like the Mac Pro. The new or like and he broke the screen hole, but I remember that whole debacle. But yeah, that's fine. Eventually I will get a new one, but again, like I can't warrant the money.
No, nor can I currently, but I want one.
Yeah. Okay. Our next story comes out of the land of GitHub Copilot and writing code for code.
Yeah. I tried that. It's wonderful.
It is. I got access to it last week as well. And if you've been watching this show for a while, you know that I have strong opinions about a lot of things Copilot does prior to getting access to it. And those opinions still remain. I disagree with how it's trained and everything, but now actually having access to it, it is spectacular at just writing snippets of code for you.
I need to try it. I got access to. I haven't, but I haven't installed it yet.
And so as part of GitHub Universal last week, they announced that not only is it available for Visual Studio Code as it was before, but they've now got full support for JetBrains IDEs and for NeoVim as well. So more platforms supported, so you can go and try it out.
So what have you actually used it for in your day-to-day, Matt?
Writing API services. So for the last week, I've been writing SQL queries in JavaScript. So write a SQL query and then get the data back and process the data in JavaScript. And I'll write the SQL query because it doesn't get that very often. But then actually processing that raw data back, which is just an array of columns, and getting it into a structured object, Copilot just gets it right.
You know what? The amount of times that I have failed trying to write Marshall code in Go for JSON, if it can do that, it's worth its weight in gold.
It has an outstanding understanding of reduce in JavaScript, which if anyone's worked with JavaScript for a long time, you'll know that reduce is probably one of the most complicated things to do. And it can just do it, and it does it right with objects.
That's fantastic. I need to try it. Michele, have you played with it yet, Michele?
No, just to say my experience on that Copilot, because I installed it because I want to try it, and then I left it installed. And I was not thinking about that. One day I was writing a Python program that was requiring to access to a complicated API of a cloud provider. Don't let me tell which one. and was surprised because I wrote the first line and it offered me the right completion. Then I wrote that one, and then it offered me the right completion of the second and third line. And then I continued. I put another, just said my intention with the comment, and it wrote me the right code. So it helped me to write a script that was very basic. But it was done enough of the time. It's wonderful. It does not work always, but if for some reason he has the knowledge about your indentation, because in his database there is something similar, it will cut your time enough. It's an automated Stack Overflow.
Yes.
So, this is what, of course, is the answer.
Ooh. Yeah, I think that's the best description I've heard of it. Is it won't solve your architectural issues. You still got to be the human brain that plans out your bit of software, but it can write a lot of kind of the boilerplatey code. I haven't opened Stack Overflow since I had Copilot, because you just write a comment instead and it does it for you.
Oh, see, that's going to be interesting, towards the Stack Overflows, market share and just use cases and stuff now of if we don't need to open. So, okay, I need to play with this. I'm going to put it on my list of things to do, because I also got the invite and then I ignored it because that's just what I tend to do.
It becomes muscle memory incredibly quickly. To me, it's now just an advanced version of IntelliSense.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I love it. That'll be fun. The thing that I had to get used to was my Golang plugin for my VS Code automatically imports libraries for me. And then if I don't use it anymore, it automatically removes them, because if you've never worked in Golang, if you don't use a variable, it screams at you very loudly. It's like, no! And I don't know why it's so determined to make sure that I don't I mean, you're right. It's performant code, but still, come on, it's 4 bytes. Can we calm down? Yeah. Let's calm down. So, anyway, yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna try. And I guess the main thing we didn't even talk, it's now available for JetBrains and NeoVim. I don't.
Yes.
Did we say that?
I did mention it, but yes, I'll say that was the big thing for me, because I use JetBrains IDEs and only JetBrains IDEs. So the fact that there's now a first-party plugin for it and it works flawlessly is brilliant.
Okay, everybody just keeps saying it's strange magic. Okay, fine. I'm gonna have to try it.
Let's be honest, it's AI, so strange magic is a pretty accurate description.
So does it make you want to code more though? Is it does it give you does it inspire you?
No, not really. It just makes my life easier.
I like things that make my life easier.
Just a bit
so,
faster. Seamus asked, does anyone have a Copilot hookup? No, unfortunately not. I wish I could. If you go to copilot.github.com, you can join the waitlist if you're not already on there.
Yeah, I think we all joined it really quickly, and then Chris got it immediately because Chris is Chris. And then I think all of us got, like, you got it, I got it, and Kim got it all the same week.
They've
like,
done a major kind of clean through of the waitlist after GitHub Universe to get a load more people trying it.
I'm excited. And I guess that leads us into our last story, which is also GitHub related, and that is Nat is leaving GitHub. The CEO of GitHub is stepping down.
Yeah, this was I don't know. When I read this and saw him tweet about it, I don't know, I had a bit of sadness inside me because Nat has actually done a huge amount of good for GitHub in the last couple of years. Given Microsoft's acquisition and then Nat coming on, everyone was really concerned what was going to happen to GitHub. I don't know.
I remember that.
I feel like GitHub has just gotten significantly better in the last 2 years. We've got GitHub Actions, we've got Copilot. I don't know. I feel like he's done a huge amount of good. And my favorite thing in this entire article is this first sentence up here. He's becoming chairman emeritus. It's his lifelong ambition of having a title in Latin.
Those do take some doing to get,
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Like, I'm hoping, Microsoft really has kind of like shifted its open source focus, from the Steve Ballmer, the 1993 days of Steve Ballmer saying Linux is cancer, to what we have now. It's really exciting to see. I do also believe that GitHub has gotten infinitely better since the Microsoft acquisition.
Yeah, like they seem to respect that GitHub is GitHub, and they're just letting it operate still and giving it funding and letting it grow on its own. So
they're giving it more funding because we're getting more products out of it. Like, GitHub was just kind of like there for a long time. Like, I never really gave it, like, yeah, it was there, you used it, but now there's like a whole ecosystem around it, and
And so they're throwing out so many new features. I don't know. Did we talk about Universe last week? I can't remember, but
we were live during Universe last week.
Right. Yeah. And so, I don't know, Microsoft funding, for example, allowed Universe with that level of production quality to happen. Spectacular.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In terms of Nat leaving, so he's stepping down from being CEO, and Thomas, who's their CPO currently, will be taking charge and becoming the new CEO. So, someone who already knows the company inside and out, not someone brand new. So hopefully minimal disruption and GitHub keeps growing.
Fantastic. Well, that's all we have for the news. So now it's the time that we know everyone is here for. It's time for another game of True or False. And for those of you that are just joining in, this is the game that we play every week where I pose 10 true or false questions to my co-host and to everyone on board. And if you join Kahoot.it on your phone with the game pin 6860239, you can compete, and the winner gets a Sammy sticker pack. Or if you're Toon Army Captain, you get the next round of pins because he won like 5 times. Go ahead and join in. And while we're doing that, we have our word of the week. Matt, do we have the overlay? There we are. Our word of the week, and we could honestly start changing this to acronym of the week, but word of the week works too, is PaaS. So for those of you that don't know, PaaS stands for Platform as a Service. So if you think of DigitalOcean and their droplets, those are an infrastructure as a service where we provide you a server. Platform as a Service is what App Platform and eventually Nimbella acquisition will be, which is a cloud computing. Here's the official definition from the internet. It's a cloud computing model. Yeah, from the internet. It's a cloud computing model where a third-party provider delivers hardware and software tools to users over the internet. Usually these tools are needed for application development. A PaaS provider hosts the hardware and the software on its own infrastructure. So instead of you having to spin up a server, you having to install Apache and do all of these things, you basically give us your code and we take care of everything else for you, the deployment and all of that. So Platform as a Service, App Platform is DigitalOcean's Platform as a Service offering. And yeah, that is a PaaS. I was never really, I'll be honest, I was never really a PaaS fan until I started working with one, and now I'm getting lazier by the minute.
Yeah, like I love them. You know, I'd rather not have to worry about infrastructure. Just here's my code, go run it for me, please. Thank you.
And I'm an infrastructure like stan. Like I love infrastructure. It's one of my favorite things. Like I love servers, like building and like setting up all that stuff. I love like it feels like I get to just build something from the ground up. And like, but you're right, it has made it a lot better. So
I think for me the thing that matters is like, yes, it's a PaaS platform, but they still give you decent control over like at least one layer beneath that. So like with that platform, you can deploy multiple components to your PaaS and have assorted things running as one application, air quotes. And you can customize to scale. And a lot of other providers do that as well. I think if the PaaS was purely just give it some code and blindly trust it, I would be less inclined. I like having that bit of extra control, but not having to worry still about like having a runtime for it and everything.
Yeah, it is definitely pretty great. So for the one more time, for those of y'all just coming in, go to kahoot.it 686-0239. We're about to start going forward. This week's theme. So for those of you that know, the last couple weeks we've been alternating between like tech and like fall themes. And then if you've also watched the show, you know that I like group of animal names. So we combined them. Oh, no. And we have fall animal group names. So these are animals that are usually associated with fall and autumn, whatever continent you're on and how you want to say it. And also, what are groups of these animals called? For example, you know, a group of whales, I believe, is a pod. You know, fun little things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in the fall animal group name quiz.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck. True or false? And here we go. A group of raccoons is called a sloth. And once again, I have good memes and good gifs. So, is a group of raccoons called a sloth? Is that poor little raccoon faces the sprinklers? Probably enjoying himself, not gonna lie.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
This is false. A group of raccoons is called a nursery. A group of bears is called a sloth.
I want to sit down with her that names these things and just ask why.
I do too, but I love them. It's one of my favorite things. So Giving Condor at 978, Social Cat, Diligent Yeti. I think that's my favorite name I've seen so far. It's a Yeti who is determined to make their dreams come true. So, next question. A group of bats is called a scourge. Or in that one, they're in, yeah, those are bat tortillas, bat quesadillas. Is a group of bats called a scourge? This is also false. A group of bats is called a cloud or a colony. A group of mosquitoes is called a scourge, which I think is fitting.
That's quite fitting and appropriate, yes. I think, fitting. Yeah, calling bats cloud, yeah, I guess that works.
Yeah. Oh, Giving Condor, someone got it at 1,000. Okay, so remember, it's not just about speed or correctness, it's about speed.
Yep.
So
that's why we have loads of different scores on the screen. So some people here pressed the button faster and got it right.
Yes, I think Giving Condor just got 1,000 points, so that means they're spamming it. Here we go. A group of foxes is called a skulk. Is a group of foxes called a skulk? A cute little Boop the Snoot fox. Boop.
Foxes are just an adorable creature.
They are like, it's like a mix between a cat and a dog. Okay, most people got this one right. This one is true. A group of foxes is called a skulk. I'm seeing people get 1,000 points, and I don't like it.
I do.
A group of badgers is called a seat. Yeah, I know, but still. Is a group of badgers called a seat? I think that's how you say that word.
Yeah.
It's a cute little badger. This is true. They are called a seat.
How are we doing? Oh, social cat climbing up.
Yeah, we had some shake up there. Social Cat coming up, Amazing Lemur also coming up, but apparently Noble Swan is on an answer streak of 4, which means they've got them all right, but they're not in the leaderboard. You got to be quicker.
Noble Swan, if you're in chat, do you know these or are you guessing?
A group of owls is called a congress. Is a group of owls called a congress? Such a noble animal. This is false. A group of owls is called a parliament. A group of salamanders is called a congress. Oh, Social Cat, 5 in a row, still climbing, but Diligent Yeti coming up behind. Then Witty Badger, Noble Swan, and Diligent Wolf. Here we go with a group of dogs can be called a clouder. Can be called a clouder.
Is this a Mason technicality? You can call anything.
No, that's not a Mason technicality. I'm not that mean. This is false. A group of cats is known as a clouder, or they have a couple of other names too. A group of dogs is a pack. Oh, Diligent Wolf and Amazing Lemur, but Social Cat still in the lead. Next question. A group of hedgehogs is called an array. And that's the cutest image I think I could find.
If this is true, I am adopting a new naming convention for my code.
Which is what?
We're just gonna start calling things hedgehog. I'm gonna have like hedgehog 1, hedgehog 2 in my arrays.
It is true. A group of hedgehogs is called an array. This one actually made me the happiest this whole time.
Yeah, hedgehogs are wonderful.
They are. Diligent Wolf, but Noble Swan's coming up, but Social Cat still holding at the top. A group of deer is called a flock. I think this one should be hopefully obvious. Is a group of deer called a flock? I also don't know why.
Decide if this cat is enjoying the situation or getting angry.
I think if the cat is tolerating the situation, the cat is enjoying the situation. This is false. Flock is usually given to bird-like animals. A group of deer is called a herd. Flock describes a lot of groups of birds.
A herd doesn't feel like a very elegant word for a deer.
It doesn't, does it? But that is the word they chose. So, A group of meerkats is called a mob. Now, who doesn't want to be mobbed by these little fellas? Look at that. Meerkats. They're so cute. They're like little ground raccoons. Is a group of meerkats called... Oh, yeah, see, everyone's getting these really quickly today. This is true. A group of meerkats is called a mob. Okay, last question. Diligent Wolf, if you can pull it out quickly, and Social Cat misses it.
A lot of people that have a chance here if Social Cat gets it wrong.
It is. This is literally anyone's game. Social Cat, you better be on your game. Last question. A group of squirrels is called a dash. Is a group of squirrels called a dash?
I love the way this is cut.
It is cut really weird.
I love it. It's brilliant.
No pressure. This is false. A group of squirrels is called a scurry. Nothing's called a dash. I just kind of went with a synonym for... Okay. Amazing Lemur with 7,834. Diligent Wolf with that. And 10 out of 10 getting it. Social Cat. Okay, apparently we have some sort of amazing guesser or some sort of like botanist or animal zoologist. That would be the correct word here.
Yeah.
Botanist.
So all three of you, let us know. Were you lucky with the guessing here, or do you know these? I'm curious.
I also wonder if people just study these now because they know that it's one of my favorite topics. So if you are the Social Cat winner, feel free to send me an email at mason@digitalocean.com with a screenshot of your winning screen and your mailing address so I can send you the stickers. Make sure you include all the information necessary to mail you stuff, such as zip code, postal code, city, state. Yeah. But yes, send me an email and we will send you some stickers. Toon Army Captain, was this you today? Did you win again today? Like, do I have to send you more pins? Like,
he made the comment saying very competitive today, which makes me think there was disappointment in not winning.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't Okay, so it probably wouldn't. So anyway, and now we're going on to our last segment of the day, which is what's on your mind. So our what's on your mind section is our section where we just go around the room and we talk about the things that we're currently thinking about, what we're working on, just whatever we want to talk about as we end the segment. I just realized I forgot to do something after the news section. That's my fault. So,
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, well.
I did. That's fine. We'll talk about it at the end. So, Matt, what is on your mind today?
I was really trying to stall there whilst I tried to think of something. I don't know really. Like, I suppose this morning I was trying to work on taking a website and generating a PDF from it, CV.
That's never fun.
No, it's not fun. Like, no one seems to have built decent technology yet, still, for doing HTML to PDFs that's open source. Like, almost everything I could find is using Phantom.js, which has kind of IE6 level support for styling.
Can't you use Pandoc for that? Or is that Markdown to PDF?
That's Markdown.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a full HTML5 modern website and convert it to a PDF. There's a load of tools that will do screenshots and then dump essentially a PNG into a PDF, but I want text.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough. There are a couple of resume sites on the Hugo theme builders.
Mm-hmm.
I did a talk with a university about building your resume and stuff. And you have to they specifically build the site with the styling and stuff so that way they can use it. So it prints nicely. But just doing it with any old site seems kind of tough. It's one of the reasons why I haven't done a web-based resume in a long time. I've thought about updating. I just haven't done it in a while. Maybe I should. Maybe it's time. I don't know. Michele, we think we know what's on your mind. You've been talking about the weather all day and you're not enjoying the English weather.
I am digging in the mysteries of a couple of things that I abandoned many years ago. I am digging into Java, Spring, and Angular. They are both technologies that I picked. I decided not to use Java, Spring, but to go for Scala. And I decided not to pick Angular and go for, first React and now Svelte. But now, because they are widely used, I have to dig in it because I am writing an article to deploy an app platform, so I have to discover how to configure Spring, and then you see that there are interesting things like a property file that can configure everything, including the path that they exposed, and also the same thing about Angular, or they are built or they installed. So it's pretty interesting. I still prefer much simpler technologies, but definitely I understand why they are widely used in the price, because they have a solution for everything. And interesting.
Well, yeah, that does sound like a lot of fun.
I learned those things. Definitely, it's an interesting thing to explore.
Yeah, I always love getting to explore new old things. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Nothing. Just agreement.
I thought I saw your little bubble. Yeah, so my mind this week is none of the little children didn't come and trick or treat as much as I thought they would this year. And I was the cool neighbor who bought full-size candy bars. I have this is what's left that I now have. This is 20 Hershey bars that are, and also notice how I didn't get up and go to my kitchen to grab them.
I'll say
notice how I took my left hand and just grabbed a stack of Hershey bars because they're sitting on my desk just taunting me. And I was under the impression that this is how you become the favorite in Trick or Treat Halloween Land. I don't know. It was weird. I was expecting to get more. I got a good amount. I was happy to give away some candy, but at the same time, I'm also if I had have known this, I would have given them 2. And then I would have been the most favorite person in the world. But now I have a lot of chocolate that tastes really, really good, but I shouldn't eat. How many are there? I'm actually going to count. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so you can count now. I'll put a 5-minute meeting on our calendar for this evening, and we can check in again on how many are there now.
Literally 20. There's literally 20. I have 20 Hershey bars. Like I don't even want to know how much like that's gonna hurt me in the long run.
You should not put them next to you on your desk.
You're probably right. They should probably be hidden from me.
It feels like a mistake.
Yeah. We definitely got to some mistakes. So I think that's all we have for what's on our mind today. We're wrapping up a little bit early today, but that's pretty nice. Matt, you want to pull up the deploy site?
I can do. I've got so many tabs open. Deploy.
So, for those of you unaware, and while we wait on Matt to bring up the site, we're going to watch a quick little video. Yes, so Deploy is coming very soon. You have, looks like less than 2 weeks. Deploy is our virtual conference for global teams. There will be a lot of focus on cloud native and Kubernetes tooling. It is a free to attend conference by DigitalOcean, so go ahead and register now on the website, deploy.digitalocean.com. We're going to have a lot of great talks. Kim will be doing her great talk on Kubernetes, so if you're missing Kim, you'll get to see her again that day. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's going to be I believe it's going to be our last conference of the year. I never say that with absolute certainty because I never know what'll happen, but I'm sure people will revolt if we try to have another conference after Deploy this year.
Yeah,
so,
no, we're definitely getting into the time of the year now where people start taking a lot of time off and just generally slowing up, having a break.
Yes. So go to deploy.com, deploy.digitalocean.com, register. Come check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can view the agenda and see all of the sessions that we're going to be talked about now. Really hope to see some of y'all there.
This hero animation is really cool.
I always love the animations. Like the fact that we're getting these short video clips now and stuff, these make my life so much fun.
Yeah.
Like it just makes the production value seem really nice. So yeah. Other than that, live streaming on Twitch is still happening, so you'll see us throughout the week. I will be live streaming today. What time
doing
am
something?
I'm doing some Django stuff. So like I have a Django project that I've been needing to work on for a while now. Looks like I'm streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I will be streaming on Twitch, probably going through my old project, getting ready. Like I would love to get it released this year. I've been working on it for 2 years and it's not been released. I'm also in the middle of a refactor because I got halfway through the project and didn't like it anymore. So we're in that circle now. Yeah. And then next week, we have our next Tech Talk build. That's actually my Tech Talk. Oh, what do you know? Okay, yeah. See, this is how well I pay attention to my own calendar. I am doing a tech talk on build and deploy a custom droplet image on DigitalOcean. So if you've ever deployed a droplet, you usually have to log in and install some stuff. I'm going to be using Packer and Ansible to basically set up a predefined droplet that you can set up that's ready to go the minute that you install it. It's a cool piece of tech. I like that sysadmin type of stuff. So if you want to learn how to set up custom droplet images, which are usually really helpful for when you need to scale in a hurry, then you should come and watch it. That's usually what they're for. Is like, oh no, we need to scale in a hurry. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And then we'll have a couple more tech talks this upcoming, And then the week after that is Deploy. So my tech talk next week, and then the week after that, we'll see you at Deploy. And that'll be a lot of fun. So I think we're at the end of time. So it's time for the best part of the show. My joke.
Your joke. Everyone brace for impact.
Brace for impact. Here we go. What kind of vest should you wear in the fall? A harvest.
Oh, that's good. That was a good one this week.
That was a good one. Okay. Well, that's all the time we have this week. It's good to have you on, Michele. Did you have fun?
Yes,
Yeah.
It was funny.
Great. Yes. It could be funny, good or funny because we're so cringy, but it's still fun. So thank you, everyone. And we will see you same time next week.
See you next week.